Hello, welcome back to another episode of Bastions and Basilisks. I'm just Kalvin. I know usually it's Kalvin and Brandon, or Kalvin and somebody else, but Brandon's busy. So Brandon does a thing on his channel that I'm gonna start doing on this channel. We're just kind of going over monsters, really just reading the entry in the monster manual, but I think it's a good way to introduce people to different monsters. So I'm reading out of Book of the Dead, because that's the only physical Pathfinder 2 book. This is also Pathfinder 2, by the way. I'll do Pathfinder 2. So yeah, we'll just start right at the beginning with the Beheaded. Beheaded are disembodied floating heads transformed into undead. They're natural candidates for necromancy's project minion due to the inexpensive cost of creation and endlessly customizable nature. In any layer occupied for long by practicing necromancers, it isn't uncommon to find a handful of floating heads roaming about, each exhibiting completely different characteristics and even degrees of expertise in their creation. So the Beheaded abilities. Beheaded can have their abilities as varied as the necromancers who create them. More Beheaded abilities can be found on page 30 of Pathfinder Bestiary 3. Life Sense. The Beheaded has imprecise life sense out to 60 feet. Whispering, it's an aura, emotion, fear, mental, necromancy tags. 30 feet. The Beheaded constantly whispers twisted incantations in unknown languages, secret and foul. Foes that enter or begin their turn in the area must succeed at a will save or be stupefied 1. The aura uses the moderate DC for the Beheaded's level. Furious Headbutt, 1 action, frequency, once per round. Effect. The Beheaded makes a wild strike, taking a -2 penalty to its AC until the end of its next turn. If the strike damages a creature, it deals additional damage equal to the Beholder's level, or Beheaded's level. Beholder. Wrong game. Alright, so start with the Festering Gnasher. A Festering Gnasher is a floating head covered in infectious pustules and hollowed out by decay. It is a creature 1, which to my understanding means it's in D&D terms, if you're familiar with D&D, it's a CR1 essentially, or it's meant for a level 1 party to fight. It's a neutral evil, tiny undead. Perception +8. It has dark vision. Its skills: acrobatics +7 or +9 to maneuver in flight. Strength +3, dex +4, con +1, intelligence -3, wisdom +3, charisma +0. AC of 16, fortitude of +4, reflex of +9, will of +6. It has 18 hit points and negative healing, which means that if you try to use a heal spell on it, it damages it, or if you use a harm spell on it, it heals it. That is my understanding. Immunities: death effects, disease, paralyzed, poison, unconscious. Weakness +2. So if you have an ability that does 2 positive damage, or it does positive damage, so if it's a d6 positive damage, it does an additional 2 points damage. Sorry for the noise in the background, they're wood taking care of fallen trees. Speed 15 feet, fly 25 feet, melee 1 action, jaws +9, it is agile, finesse, reach 0 feet. Damage 1d4 +3, piercing, plus brain rot. Brain rot, disease, saving throw DC 14 fortitude, onset 1 day. Stage 1, stupefied 1, 3 days. Stage 2, stupefied 2 and slowed 1 day. Stage 3, paralyzed with spasms 1 day. Stage 4, death. That's pretty intense for a level 1 encounter. So that's it for Festering Gnasher. Now we have Taunting Skull. Some Beheaded are raised with their mental faculties mostly intact. These clever undead often provoke their victims into foolishly giving chase or harming themselves. Taunting Skull to creature 5. Neutral evil, tiny undead. Perception +13. It has dark vision. Languages: common, Necril, plus any 1 language spoken in life, which could make for an interesting monster. Because, you throw in something that you don't expect your group to. Like, the group speaks a random language, and then you're like, yeah, this guy speaks that random language, and so they're talking around it, and it's like, I know what you're saying. I mean, oh, I'm dead, blah. Skills: acrobatics +12, +14 to maneuver in flight, Intimidation plus 12, plus 14 to demoralize. Strength plus 1, Dex plus 5, Con plus 1, Intelligence plus 0, Wisdom plus 4, Charisma plus 1. It's interesting to see the difference in stats, or stat modifiers. AC 22, Fortitude plus 10, Reflex plus 14, Will plus 11. Hit points 80, negative healing. Once again, that's page 213 in this book. Does it explain in this book? Probably does. Oh, it does. Okay, interesting. I assumed it would direct you to a different book. I'm great at this. Immunities, death effects, disease, paralyzed, poison, unconscious. Weakness, positive 5. Bite back is a reaction. The taunting skull is attacked by, and the trigger is the taunting skull is attacked by a creature within their reach. Effect: the taunting skull makes a jaw strike against a target creature, or against that creature, not target creature. Speed 15 feet, fly 40 feet, so it's faster than the other one. Melee, 1 action, jaws plus 14. Agile, finesse, reach 0 feet. Damage 2d10 plus 3 piercing. Incessant goading, 1 action. Auditory, emotion, incapacitation, mental. The skull chooses 1 creature within 60 feet and antagonizes it mercilessly. The target must attempt a DC 20 will save to resist the effect. Critical success, the target is unaffected and is temporarily immune for 1 minute. Success, the target is unaffected. Failure, the target is flat-footed for 1 round. On its next turn, if the taunting skull is within the target's reach, the target wildly attacks the taunting skull as many times as possible. That's interesting. That's an interesting ability. Critical failure, as failure, but the target also immediately performs a strike against itself. The strike doesn't take any actions. Oh, so it doesn't use a reaction or anything, or even an action. So you're swinging 4 times in a round. And then we have, I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, Dacanoinient. A Dacanoinient is a horrific monstrosity arising from the terrible crime against the dead. Obsessed with exacting retribution, the creature manifests as an enormous, disembodied head, 10 feet in height and covered in coarse black hair, well that's intense, with bat-like wings and vicious fangs and talons. Dacanonients are naturally conflicted creatures. As a product of the tortured wills of numerous victims, Dacanonients sometimes exhibit strange or conflicting desires, making Dacanonients relatively easy to trick or deceive, and the creatures are vulnerable to fire. One story of a Dacanonient encounter describes the creature attempting to eat an old woman, only to be tricked by the woman into devouring a live coal. Their mouth aflame, the Dacanonient fled into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Interesting. Okay, Dacanonient, creature 9. It's rare, neutral evil, large undead. Perception plus 17, dark vision. Languages common, necro plus any 1 language spoken in life. Can't speak any language. Oh, so that's interesting. So the taunting skull can speak, but this one can't. Skills, acrobatics plus 17, plus 21 to maneuver and flight. Athletics plus 21. Survival plus 17, plus 21 to track anyone involved in the desecration that created them. Okay. Strength plus 6, Dex plus 4, Con plus 4, Intelligence plus 0, Wisdom plus 2, Charisma plus 0. AC 28, Fortitude plus 21, Reflexes plus 17, Will plus 15. So this is the first one with a better Fortitude. Hit points 170, negative healing. Immunities, death effects, disease, paralyzed, poison, unconscious. Weakness, fire 10, positive 5. Okay. Speed 15 feet, fly 30 feet. Melee 1 action, jaws plus 21. Damage 2d12 plus 9 piercing damage, plus 1d4 negative and grab. Melee talons plus 21 agile. Damage 2d8 plus 9 slashing, plus 1d4 negative and grab. Baleful gaze, 2 actions, curse, emotion, fear, mental, visual. Dacanonients face twists into an expression of unbridled rage. Each creature within 30 feet that can see the Dacanonient must attempt a DC 28 will save. The creature is then temporarily immune for 1 minute. Critical success, the creature is unaffected. Success, the creature is frightened 1. Failure, the creature is frightened 2. Critical failure, the creature is frightened 3. Snatch. I don't think you can say that on YouTube. Decanonian can fly at half speed while they have a medium or smaller creature grabbed or restrained in their talons, carrying that creature along with them. Swallow Whole. One action, attack, medium. I assume they can target a medium creature. 2d8 plus 9 bludgeoning, rupture 24. Once again, that's a specific rule. Alright. There's also a side thing, monstrous heads. While the traditional image of a beheaded is that of a disembodied human head or skull, necromancers can create beheaded out of any sort of head. This variety can lead to extremely distinctive beheaded, including dragon heads, giant insect heads, medusa heads, or those of even rarer creatures. Occasionally, such beheaded retain weakened versions of their original special abilities from the constituent creature instead of a beheaded ability, such as a breath weapon for a dragon head or gaze for a medusa head. That would be, it could be like, what's her name from Hades? Dusa. Dusa? Anyway, so that's the beheaded. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.